Good morning, fam. It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today we have a lot of updates to talk about in terms of the Emerson Micro Commander and the REX45 mini testing. So before we get into it, I just want to give a quick housing update because everyone's been asking, and I haven't had time to respond to a lot of DMs and comments that I'm getting. Also, I just woke up per usual. It's Tuesday, so this is our Tuesday morning chat. Literally just woke up. So, yeah, the housing thing, we're still at the same place that we have been. There's nothing available. That GoFundMe money and the raffle money from Brian is still just sitting in my bank account untouched until hopefully a miracle happens. If you don't know what I'm referring to, basically Nicole and I are losing our housing because someone in the community made us lose our housing. I have a video more in depth on that whole thing. Like, I have a video called What Really Happened with River's Edge Cutlery. That video is a few videos back, and it explains like the timeline very in depth as to what happened. But essentially, long story short, Nicole and I accepted a job at River's Edge Cutlery. The owner flew us out there. We accepted the job and everything. He said that he would set us up with a house out there because we made it very clear that we don't have the capability or money to do that. We made a verbal contracts, and he agreed to set us up with housing and everything. And then he made us come home and leave our current house. And when the time came to go back out there to start our new job, he said, "Just kidding. I don't have anything for you. You should probably stay in New Hampshire." And we already had lost our housing in New Hampshire. So he didn't actually do anything out in Ohio, and now we're going to be homeless. And, so there's a GoFundMe for that. Like I said, more details on that are in the video that I made. And everyone has also been asking, well, did he keep his end of the deal by, like, helping you guys out at least in New Hampshire? Because he had said that he'll, like, at least, financially help us or something. No, definitely not. There's been zero contact. He has basically left us for dead. He hasn't even reached out to see if we're okay. Like, just absolutely no contact. Does not seem to have us on our radar. So we're about to be homeless. He hasn't asked if we're okay. He hasn't sent anything. And this is, again, not a video to turn everyone against River's Edge or to hate the owner or anything. Some people are just capable of doing things that really mess up other people's lives, and they can just kind of move on and distract themselves and not really care. And I think that's kind of what happened. He, ruined our lives, and now he's just on to bigger and better things, and we are stuck here homeless. So that's that. I will link the GoFundMe down in the description below if you would like to help us out. We have dogs, which makes it difficult to get housing, and there's nothing available here, so we literally are screwed. But yeah, that's that. Let's talk about knives now. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. We'll talk about this Emerson first, because here's the thing. Emerson knives, I think, are, like, completely misunderstood. I think people don't even try them and say that they're shit without actually even, using them or seeing what the idea is behind an Emerson knife. And I've always been a huge fan of them ever since I started using them. So I used this Micro Commander at work all day yesterday. Emerson knives are made in 154 cm steel, treated to, I think it's between 58 and 60 for a heat treat. And they are chisel ground with a 25 to 30 degree edge bevel. Chisel ground means that there's only an edge bevel on one side. So if we flip this knife over, there's nothing. We have a grind here, but no actual edge on this side. And then this side has the actual cutting edge. The reason Ernest has been doing this for eternity and continues to do it is because this creates a very tough edge that is easily serviced in the field. That is important because he makes knives for military personnel, people that are not hanging out at their house with a full sharpening system, right? You might be in a freaking desert in Iraq or something with these knives, with a rock to sharpen on. You really don't know. So that's kind of the audience that his knives are geared toward, right? And we, as normal civilians, cannot expect our needs to be met by his knives because they're not necessarily meant for us. So Emerson knives, they run on nylotron washers. They have a chisel grind. They're in a softer, old school steel, 25 to 30 degree edge bevel, and they're beefy and overbuilt. And fully serviceable with a Phillips and a flathead, or even a freaking penny or something. If you just need to clean out your pivot area, you could use a penny to get this out and service it. This is entirely geared toward an audience, famous in the worst places audience. So let's talk about why Emerson knives, even though they're not really geared toward any of us, are so popular still and sought out by a specific group of people in the EDC community. These knives, although overbuilt, extremely thick, and kind of rough around the edges, they are very useful tools. So yesterday I used this all day. I was at the farm. We got a whole load of fresh onions sent in. So they're in a giant basket. It's like, I would guess maybe 50 pounds. They're like fresh picked out of the ground. So they still have the roots, and then the bulb, which is covered in dirt and rocks. And then the shoot, which is like, this long coming off of the onion. And we have to trim them up and make them, sellable for the customers. So we trim the roots off, brush off the dirt, cut the top shoot off, and then throw them all in a basket for the customers. And in doing that process, you're working on just like a plastic cutting board at a metal table. And scissors don't necessarily work for that because the dirt and grime and rocks get stuck in the like little pivot area of the scissors, and they get gummed up, and it just doesn't work. So, we have all realized that like a knife works best. Just like laying the onion down on a cutting board, trim the bottom, trim the top, toss it in a bucket, right? That's what seems to work. However, dirt accumulates on the cutting board and is brutal on your knife edge. So you're cutting through literal dirt and sand and rocks throughout this entire process, and you have 50 pounds of those to do, which takes an hour and a half, 2 hours. I have done that same project, the same exact project, with a Spartan Harsey folder, and it basically failed. I did it with a S45 VN Para 3. It made it through, but it was tough. I've done it with, what was the last knife I did it with? I'm trying to recall. One other knife. My point being, it was very tough on those knives to make it through that project, and they were pretty totaled after. Oh, the TRM Neutron, that was the last one that I recently did that project with, and it's tough on those blades, right? So then we bring in the Emerson, and I did the same project with it yesterday, cutting through dirt and sand and rocks and roots for upward of 2 hours. And this never had an issue, never lost its edge, came out completely unscathed, and then was touched up on a ceramic rod within 15 seconds. Now, why did this outperform all of those other, decently high-end knives, those really nice normal knives that don't have a V-grind? Why did it outperform those? Because when you have a chisel grind, you are increasing the toughness of this edge by a fucking landslide. Because you don't have the thinness behind the edge that a conventional grind does. And the apex that this chisel grind creates is 10 times tougher than a normal edge. You have a lot of material backing up this initial edge, And with the steel that Ernest uses, the 154 cm, treated the way it is, it's literally like an indestructible blade and steel and geometry and edge, because it is treated just right, where it's not too soft where it doesn't hold an edge, but it's not too hard where it starts to chip and break away. And because it's at a 25 to 30 degree angle here, chisel ground, it is literally like a pocket axe or a pocket chisel, really. And it will just cut through certain materials for eternity. And that's why these knives are so popular. If you actually use them and try them out, you will realize how incredible they are, even though they seem beefy and overbuilt and kind of outdated and stupid to, compared to modern folders. So this knife did that entire project, never lost its edge, never had a chip or a roll or a nothing, not a single nick, and just plowed through those onions and could probably keep going all day. It outperformed the Neutron, the Para 3, the Spartan, like I said, by a fucking landslide. So that's why he stayed with this chisel grind, which seems outdated to a lot of us. The 25 to 30 degree angle that the edge is sharpened at. It's meant for hard use, guys. And if you're actually using your knives, especially in brutal conditions, they just don't give out on you. It's really, really incredible. This outperformed knives twice the price range of this. And that is really cool if you're in a situation where you just need your knife to fucking work and not quit on you, which is, what I am in sometimes with the farm. Like, you got to get your shit done. It's busy as fuck. The conditions are dirty and brutal, and you need something to just make it through the damn day without giving out on you, without needing to be touched up. Another major point with Emerson knives is those nylotron washers. These are impregnated with silicone. They do not need lubrication. Lubrication will collect dirt and grime and make your action gritty. These don't need any of that. These lubricate themselves as you open and close the knife and use it. The other thing is, because they're semi-flexible, they actually push grime and dirt out from the pivot area. So even if you get something in there, because they are not a linear surface, because they are not completely hard like a phosphor bronze washer per se, it's not going to get stuck in there and start scratching the metal and removing material. These nylotron washers are flexible and they have a little bit of give, so it actually ends up kind of like pushing the material out. There was a fuck ton of dirt in this knife yesterday, and all I had to do was just open and close it a few times, and I literally saw the dirt kind of like working its way out, especially like just running it under some water. Like, you don't have to disassemble it to get that dirt out, because those washers are meant to give you a nice, smooth, silky action. They're meant to lubricate themselves, and they're meant to not get damaged through, dirt and debris getting stuck in there. This knife is very smooth, and it had literal dirt stuck in it yesterday. Never had to take it apart or anything. That's what these knives were made for, guys. They're meant for working in the dirt, maybe in the desert. They're meant to be just absolutely beat on and not affected by it. So I just feel like these knives are kind of misunderstood, because people get them and they're like, oh, this is way too much, and like, this chisel grind is ridiculous. This, all of this is kind of outdated. Like, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. No. They have a purpose. They have a purpose, and it's probably not for you, but if you're looking for an absolute beater of a knife, Emerson knives are just absolutely incredible, guys. This thing, it went through the ringer yesterday, and it just kept going. So, with certain tasks, now I'm not saying all tasks, but with messy tasks where you don't need a fuck ton of precision, that chisel edge might be a lifesaver for you, right? If you don't need a nice, precise, thin edge, that chisel edge right there, that chisel grind, will go through material all day long for you. I used specifically this area of the knife for 2 hours yesterday, just like cutting those roots off, cutting those stems off. Never lost its edge or bite. It's just absolutely indestructible. So don't judge the steel, don't judge the low heat treat, don't judge the chisel grind before using it, because there's a reason he does it. There's a reason that Ernest does that, and it might not be for you, but it is for people like me. In terms of the actual blade shape, this recurve and stuff, it's not bad. It definitely goes through certain materials really well. Like I said, I used this area of the knife for the most part. I did have to sharpen it on a ceramic rod real quick after because, a freehand stone isn't going to work with that recurve. You have to have some sort of like cylinder-shaped surface to hit specific areas. So that ceramic rod worked really well for me. Took literally 15 seconds to do. I have an Emerson Mini A100, which just is like my go-to fucking knife for hard use. This is really good too, but that recurve just limits me a little bit with the work that I do. So like this isn't what I would choose first. I would 100% go with the Mini A100. But this is not bad and it does go through certain materials. But don't expect it to be blowing through cardboard and stuff, guys. That's hilarious, and it's not. It doesn't want to do that. It wants to do dirtier, grimier, messier tasks, not going through cardboard and paper. So there's that. I am going to send this off to Cam to try out. He's never even held an Emerson, so I'm excited to see what he thinks about this. I'm going to send that out today. This is a fantastic knife, an absolute beater. Highly recommend. Let's talk real quick about the Para 3 Lightweight REX45, because I used this all day yesterday too. I've been using it for the past few days. It's great. REX45 so far, really, really good. I think the edge, it came a little fatigued from the factory. I did have to strap it back after a couple hours of using it, but I could tell it has potential. As crazy as this sounds, and hear me out, I think I want to crush the apex on it and reestablish an entire new edge and apex on this. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I don't believe in like putting a new edge on a knife unless you're like actually removing the initial apex. 'Cause maybe I'm just like a crazy person, but in my mind, removing the material here and here on this edge bevel with the stone still is not, you're almost like building up a fresh edge behind the still fatigued apex. So what I do is I literally take a coffee mug, like when I go to put a brand new edge on a knife, like if the factory edge kind of blows and it's like burnt or whatever, I will take a coffee mug and like just run my knife over it like this a few times and like literally kind of crush that apex and like break down that initial apex edge. And then I will go literally reestablish the entire thing with a stone. Like redo the whole edge, but build up a brand new apex. Because I don't trust the one that it comes with if these come with burnt edges. I hope that makes sense. I might sound like a fucking crazy person, but I've made a video on it. I literally have a video of me getting an S30V Benchmade bug out, grinding it into a coffee mug and rebuilding that edge back. It was like a 10-minute video, because I don't want to build up a nice fresh clean edge behind weak material that's still kind of there. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that. I'll just kind of remove that, put a nice fresh edge on it with my stones, and then see how that goes, because I did halfway through the day just strop this up because I didn't have time to sharpen. I stropped it up at work because it kind of just like lost its edge, but I can feel and tell that the REX45 has potential. It has a very toothy bite to it, and I really like that, so I'm excited to kind of remove that material, see how it does freshened up. But yeah, it seems to have potential. I am going to use the other REX45 today at work. So this is the regrind that I got from Anthony in the Native 5 Lightweight. I want to use this and see how this does because he did a regrind on it, put his own edge on it. This is not fatigued, burnt factory edge anymore. This is something new. This is something that's already been worked on. So I'm curious to see how this does compared to what came from the factory. This is going to be a shredder. I can tell you that. So this will be today's workhorse. Very excited to see the differences between this and the Para 3 Lightweight. I think that's all I have for you guys today. I gotta go get ready for work. Yeah, thank you for following along, guys. Thank you for all the support. We literally surpassed 5,000 subs in like a year, which is like mind-blowing to me. I can't believe that 5,000 people like watching my videos, and we did it so quick, literally within a year. 5,000 people. That's insane. I'm very proud of that, and I am so happy that you guys like the content that I'm putting out. I have a lot of stuff planned. You know, it's tough with the housing right now. I'm trying so hard to just find something, so videos have been limited, but I appreciate you guys watching. Just send us good wishes, guys. That's all I can say is just send us some good vibes, but I love you all. Thank you for everything. Go use your shit. Okay? I'm telling you to go use your shit today. Please. The use your shit gods want you to use your fucking shit. I will see you guys on the next video. Love you all.